Before Chequers was established as the Prime Minister's official country residence, PMs used to get their R&R by heading off to the sticks to stay with their friends. In William Gladstone's day, much of Willesden was a green and pleasant land, believe it or not, and it was there at Dollis Hill House that he used to take time out. But now this Regency villa is in danger of being torn down, so historian Lucinda Lampton paid a visit to NW10 to find out more.
When the great American writer Mark Twain stayed at Dollis Hill House in 1900, he declared that he had never seen a place so satisfactorily situated, with its noble trees and its stretch of country and everything that made life delightful, all within a biscuit's throw of the metropolis of the world. Miserably, though, the house to which he was referring is now little more than a derelict shell, having been vacant for 13 years, during which time there were 3 suspicious fires. Now its future hangs perilously in the balance, and this precious part of Brent's heritage might well be wiped off the map.
As far as many locals are concerned, though, keeping the house in its present sorry state for much longer just isn't an option.
The gardens are beautiful, the park is really well maintained, that you've got this awful, absolute eyesore right in the middle of it.
It would be fantastic if it could be restored, but equally they need to make a decision quite quickly as to what they are going to do with it.
There are people who remember the house when it looked amazing, and they, of course, are desperately campaigning to get the house restored. But the truth is there are lots of new people who've moved in here, and they just can't understand why the eyesore's there. They will sometimes write to me and say, can't we get rid of it? They don't understand the history and how important it is.
And indeed, this poor old ruin was once one of the jewels in North London's crown. Dollis Hill House was built by the Finch family in 1825 on the site of a farmhouse. By 1881 it was in the hands of Lord and Lady Aberdeen, who were regularly visited by a very distinguished guest, the Prime Minister, William Gladstone.
That's charmingly beautiful, that little round window there.
And this, of course, is the staircase where
Yes.
Gladstone and his family would have walked, and subsequently Mark Twain, unfortunately totally destroyed by the fire because it was made of wood.
How destructive is the fire too? There's that terrible charring of everything.
Indeed.
But the moulding still survived.
Some of them have survived and therefore can very readily be replicated.
This is a very beautiful, I think the proportions here are wonderful. Gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4 great broad sweeping arches, lovely.
I think that was the library, and we think that Gladstone had that as a bedroom overlooking Hampstead.
It's delightful to think of them here, though, in this,
Isn't it?
in this country, place to rest from his terrible travails with the Afghan war going on, the Sudan war, the Boer war.
This is the Chequers of his day, where the Prime Minister is able to come and relax.
So tell me, how did my hero, Mark Twain, come into this picture?
Well, when Lord Aberdeen became the Governor-General of Canada, this place became the home of a newspaper proprietor, and we believe that he knew Mark Twain, and Mark Twain was invited to come and stay here with his wife and daughter. But this was, according to him, his favourite place.
He particularly loved the rural aspect. He wrote, it is country pure and simple, and as still and reposeful as the bottom of the sea.
Throughout the 20th century, the house had many lives. Bought by Willesden Council in 1900, it was used as tea rooms, then a First World War hospital and convalescent home, then a meeting place for Churchill's War Cabinet, and later a restaurant. When Brent Council took it over, the house was used to train catering students, and then fell into decline in the 1980s.
The house was declared surplus to council needs in 1994, and after several abortive solutions as to its future were considered, in 2003 Brent Council voted for its demolition. However, as a Grade 2 listed building, English Heritage will not give permission for this building to be demolished unless every avenue for saving it has been most thoroughly explored.
The Dollis Hill House Trust, set up in the year 2000, has worked closely with several successive Brent councils to try and find a way of saving the building for the benefit of the local community.
We really need it, this house. This area just hasn't got anywhere to bring all the people together. All the people that live around this park from all their backgrounds at different ages, they never really come together. It would really be wonderful. We've got all of London there in front of us that we can look over. We've got Wembley right next to us, new things alongside old, and we've got the health of the park. You couldn't pick a better place, so why not save this? It would be terrible if we lose it.
Ken Livingstone was Member of Parliament for Brent East. Has he shown a keen interest?
We've got hopes because we saw Ken Livingstone a year ago and he said yes, he would be able to offer half of the capital cost if the business plan was fine, if the community access were fine.
In its current state, though, the house costs the council around £20,000 a year to maintain in a relatively safe state. This has been funded from the insurance payouts from the fires, but the pot of money is now running low. As far as the council is concerned, the house is now almost out of options.
The saga with the house has now been going on for about 12 or 13 years. There have been numerous attempts to put together a plan for the redevelopment of the house. It would cost approximately £3 million to rebuild it. The council doesn't have the resources, and therefore over the years we have always looked for partners. Ken Livingstone has offered up to £1.5 million. Heritage Lottery Trust have recently expressed an interest, but they both demand a viable business plan. We did a very professional job in marketing the house. We received around 100 inquiries and 6 firm proposals, but unfortunately none of those were acceptable.
The Trust, though, have one last potential ace up their sleeve. They have found an organisation that might just have the track record to transform the fortunes of the house.
There's a partner on board who's got viability and has done this sort of thing before, and that partner's called Training for Life, and it's really exciting. We've only got a few weeks left to either have a business plan that the council will find stacks up, or for the vote that they took to demolish the house to be brought to fruition.
So the ball is now firmly in the court of Training for Life, working with the Trust to produce a viable business plan before the deadline of December the 12th.
The Training for Life charity has set up a series of social enterprise prospect centres in formerly run-down buildings that are now used as places in which to train disadvantaged people.
But Dollis House, it's a glorious building. When Jill Close and her team from the Trust approached us, it was love at first sight, and we thought, well, look, does this prospect centre business model work? And it does.
So what plans does Training for Life have for Dollis Hill House?
I think a restaurant, training restaurant, tea room, conference facilities, all wrapped up together as an academy, a training academy for our clients.
Brent Council's Executive Committee will be meeting in December to assess Training for Life's proposals. If they conclude that the figures just don't stack up, there is now very little to stop the bulldozers from moving in, and a small but significant part of London's rich heritage will disappear forever.